Hey y'all, this week on the podcast, we're going to talk about our new motto of laugh often,
eat good food,
and speak life.
All while having a whole lot of fun.
Here we go. Hey y'all, and welcome back to As Good As It Gets, the podcast.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Mikey.
And this is a virtual chat from our camper kitchen.
That's right, we are on the road.
Yes.
Actually, we're in an RV park, but we've been on the road. Last we left y'all, we were at home. And
stuck in very cold Indiana.
We were freezing. And not only were we freezing, but the camper was froze up. And
we didn't know that at the time.
Oh, no, we didn't know that till way later. If y'all been watching the episodes that we've been putting out since we left on our little adventure, the great GOODe adventure, I'm sure you saw that we had some issues. That things were frozen, things were busted, and we had a lot of stuff to fix.
Yes.
While we were on the road.
But we got it done.
Like a team, because that's what we are around here. But we're glad to be back with you guys. Sorry there was a break in a week there, but, well, we kind of needed a break because we've been filming nonstop. We've been taping recipes.
Well,
and
let's just be, we had taped this podcast.
We did.
But because we were in a different location than the last podcast. We had camera quality issues that were really, really bad. And we were going to retape.
It looked like we were in a dark basement with no lights.
We were going to retape. And then we had like a family thing happen.
Yeah.
And so then we were like, okay, we're just not going to kill ourselves.
Let's just wait.
We want to be our best selves when we're on here. So we decided to wait and do it when we were fresh. And
we're good now.
So
are you good? We're good.
We are.
We're happy to be back with you. We miss you guys. We think we've got some internet's problems taken care of. We
knock on wood, but he won't let me knock on the table.
No, because it makes a loud sound with the microphones. I just learned that out, but we're learning that. We got suggestions. Hey, get the mics out of your faces. So I think we've got that fixed. I don't know until I hear this. This could be take number 2 that we don't do.
I hope not.
But we're here, and we did a live the other day on our Facebook group. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, go to As Good As It Gets. The link will be in the show notes down below to be a part of it over on Facebook. And then also make sure if you're on Instagram that you're with us on Instagram. Follow us at Recipes That Crock. Not just because there's some really cool photos and you can keep up with us in real time, but well, you'll hear later on there's some big news that you're probably going to be a part of.
Yeah, we do. I would say day to day, the best way, other than, of course, being a subscriber to the channel and the newsletter, is the Facebook group. We're trying to be more active in there because we don't know how our Wi-Fi situation is going to be.
Right.
And then we're also trying to be way more active on Instagram and through Instagram stories. It's going to be kind of more of a like current or more current where we are now. Right. So if you're like really wanting to know what's going on, and we kind of show some things that don't get shown anywhere else there. So those are 2 places that if you're looking to connect with us more than just what we're doing about 3 times a week now on the channel.
2 to 3.
We're doing 2 to 3 times on the channel.
Well, yeah, with the podcast, I guess it would be 3.
Yeah. And then on the podcast, we're doing once a week. So if you want to connect throughout the week, those are 2 places you can definitely connect with us.
Yup.
So, and you'll kind of know what's headed on to the YouTube channel, because we're probably about 2 or 3 weeks behind where we currently are. Yeah,
what you
on
see,
the YouTube channel.
What you see on this week is usually 2 weeks ago that we did.
Yeah.
Depending, we had one video with the corned beef, and that was just because St. Patty's Day that came up. And so we kind of jumped ahead with that one, and then now you're going back into where we were at the time a couple weeks ago. So if you want to know where we're at right now, all you got to do is hook up with us over on Recipes That Crock at on Instagram, and you can see what we're doing. Sometimes I even did a live the other day when I was playing with a rattlesnake. Not my smartest moment, but it was really awesome.
Yeah, So you'll see all about that coming soon.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you will. I can't wait to edit that one.
But with all of that, we are back for the podcast, and a couple housekeeping notes. We are not going to do season 2, season 3, and all that kind of stuff. We're just going to keep numbering the episodes because we kind of like doing the podcast.
And this is just a season of life.
Right. And on top of that, we wanted to let you know that we are kind of structuring things a little bit differently. All of what we were dubbing season 1 was kind of our backstory. And so now we're going to kind of approach the rest of the podcast, at least for the foreseeable future, with our life motto, which is
laugh often, eat good food, and speak life. If y'all saw in any of the videos, the old Cooking Chris's dishes that we do from the house, even I think into the camper kitchen, the last thing we would usually say is y'all keep watching and we'll keep cooking and all will be well. And I mean, that's still a good motto to have, because if y'all quit watching, we're not going to have nothing to do. But we're all getting to be deeper family around here. We're really close with our Crock Posse. We love our Crock Posse. And part of getting close with somebody is to build each other up, which is definitely what y'all do for us all the time. Gosh, the comments that we've just gotten in the last week from you people are awesome and uplifting, and you speak a lot of life into us. You enjoy it when we do something that makes you laugh, and of course y'all started coming because of the food. And so if you put those three together, we talked about it. It's like, you know what, that's more
about what our channel's about, where before we were kind of, it just kind of was what we ended up saying. We just got into the habit of saying, and this is more what the channel and PS our life is kind of all about. We're trying to find the humor in most things, which you kind of got to when everything's leaking.
It's either that or cry.
And then we of course are all about good food around here, because it's
kind of our living.
It's my website and what we do on the channel. It's something we very much enjoy, finding great recipes and sharing them with people. And then Speak Life is just a common
that's been our motto in our house for years. It's something that we definitely want to raise up Miss Ad with, is to speak life, because you either speak life or you speak death. There's no middle. Or
we're gonna do that here in a minute.
She's gonna talk about that when we get more into the Speak Life. But you guys know that we try to speak life into y'all. We try to stay positive, and through making you laugh and through telling you that you can do it in the kitchen, or whatever it is. Or people will tell us, hey, I've got something going on, and we'll absolutely tell you we're praying for you, and we are, or what have you. We want to speak life into you guys. So we figure it's a good trade-off. You do it for us all the time, we want to do it back for you.
So just to get into it, or as we've been saying, here we go. We're gonna do 3 segments with each podcast. We're gonna start with Laugh Often, and to kick off Laugh Often, and honestly, this is for selfish reasons, I'll be very honest. We're gonna have Mikey tell a bad dad joke each episode of the podcast. So that we can limit him to 1 each week, and so Miss Ad and I don't have to hear them so often.
See, this is the part we haven't really discussed enough yet, because I don't think you can tell just one good bad dad joke. But see, I'm in my 40s. I'm a father of a 10-year-old. I'm well within the seniority of being able to tell bad dad jokes. And there's a couple of places that we'll follow. I've got a buddy of mine, George, that turned me on to an Instagram page channel. What do you Instagram feed of Dad Says Jokes, and it's just a bunch of bad dad jokes.
Do I need to have a talk with George? Is that what's going on here? Is that why there's been this influx of bad dad jokes?
Don't take away my bad dad joke. Don't take away my George. George, you know I love you.
But let's get to it. What is your chosen bad dad joke of the week?
Sometimes I tuck my knees into my chest and I lean forward. That's how I roll.
Oh my goodness.
There's so many more. Can I tell another one?
No. 1 a week. That's what we're limiting things to. But aside from that, we also wanted to talk a little bit about our trip and what has made us laugh for today's episode.
Oh, gosh.
So what's something that's made you laugh or find the humor in...
There's been a lot. There's been a whole bunch. But when we talk about we want to laugh often, sometimes things happen to where you want to cuss. And I'm not going to say that I didn't, because I did.
When you put gum in my seat?
Oh, I think that made you want to cuss more than anything. But yeah,
on accident.
yeah, she gets up. We stop at a rest stop on our way to Texas, I think, or on our way to Arkansas, and she gets out of the truck and she tries to get out of the truck and she's stuck to the seat. And y'all know that I quit chewing a long time ago, over a year ago, and but I still love to chew the gum. And
nicotine gum.
Yeah, I chew gum constantly, whether it's nicotine gum or regular gum. I like to chew gum. And well, I thought I'd thrown it away, and evidently where I threw it was not away, and it somehow ended up getting in her seat, and then she gets out of the truck and it was all over her pants.
Yes.
And
my seat.
When you look back at it,
and I didn't know it, but it was also all over my backpack, which, like, when we finally got to our destination, because that was the same day that that all the leaking water happened, so we were exhausted when we finally pulled into a Walmart to boondock, and I lift my backpack up and there is gum everywhere. I don't know, like, it had to have been like 20 pieces of gum had been chewed and spread everywhere. But thankfully we had peanut butter in the cabinet that got the gum loose from everything, including my britches and my backpack and everything. And so we ended up laughing about it at the end of it.
At the end, I was chewing gum, she was chewing
him.
And then also, you know, with the problems that we had with the water lines that I had thought that I had winterized. I had most of them, but there were a couple that kind of missed the mark, and one of them was our toilet, and so we had to replace a valve, and we had to Amazon Prime one to one of the locations where we stopped at, and then we found out that wasn't the only water leak we had. And then we found out we replaced the outdoor sink, and we found out that the faucet that I bought was the wrong kind, so that didn't work.
It's just one thing after another.
And so it's now like 11:30, maybe midnight, when I get done with everything. And the last thing I did was, you know, I had to hook the water up to the trailer. So I hooked the water up to the trailer, and the valve, it's like the Y valve that lets you run two hoses off of one. I hook it up, flip it on, and it had frozen up at some point, and so water shot out everywhere, head to toe, drenched. And it was like 38 degrees down in Texas, so I was freezing cold. I come back in just soaking wet, and it was either laugh or cry, so we chose to laugh.
We chose to laugh.
Yeah, but something else that was funny that we laughed and laughed and laughed, and you'll see this in later episodes. Was our trip to White Sands.
Oh, I think that's one of the highlights of the trip. I'm really excited for you guys to see it.
That's
when
coming
it comes
really
out.
soon.
It's not this next week, but maybe you're gonna see, it'll be the next week when you hear this. But anyhow, is White Sands National Monument. We had so much fun there, and it was like we're two 40-year-olds sledding down these white sand dunes. I mean, I think we might have had more fun than Addie, and Addie was having a ball.
Octavius was having a blast.
Yeah, everybody was having a good time, but these two...
But in this duo of who we are, I think you know that she's the straight man and I'm not.
Aww.
I'm Lou Costello to her Bud Abbott. And so when I stood there at the top of the dunes, and she gets on the sled and slides down, and all I hear is... and she cackled and squealed like a little girl. It was much fun. It was fun to laugh at.
I hate cold weather, and I hate snow. I'll be real. I could go without ever seeing snow again. If you love snow, more power to you. I did, as a child, enjoy sledding, but I never enjoyed being cold and wet and just blah. I absolutely loved sledding on those sand dunes because, like, you didn't get wet, you weren't cold. It was perfect weather. Yeah, sand was everywhere, but you can dust sand off. And we had sand in our pockets, sand in our jean cuffs and all that kind of stuff. But it was a lot of fun. So
that's what we do. We laugh often.
Yes, laugh often.
It's healthy, I think.
Yes. So the other part of what we're doing is eating good food, which you guys know that because that's part of why y'all tune in. And so, what's your favorite thing that you've eaten on this particular trip?
Firebird, hands down. I mean, we've done a lot of great dishes. We've done some upcoming dishes that were really good that I really can't wait for you guys to see. And then of course, we've relived some great dishes we've made in the past with the Mississippi beef, Mississippi chicken, anything like that. But one of them that really sticks out with me is the Firebird, which is a slow roasted or a slow cooked whole chicken in the slow cooker. That was during Carlsbad Taverns, I believe. Yep. And if you guys haven't checked out that episode, it's a great episode to check out. 1, to see Carlsbad, and 2, to see how to put it together. But absolutely, if you have a chicken on hand, I hope you don't have a chicken on your hand. But if you are trying to find some way to do a good roasted chicken, this Firebird recipe is hands down my favorite. And
Crock Posse member, I believe Kim, or one of our Kims, has reached out and said that she tried that recipe, and now I think it's her go-to whole chicken recipe because it's so flavorful.
I think it's going to be ours too.
So we love it.
Even like we'll complain and say we like dark meat, we love like thighs and legs and stuff like that, and the chicken breast will sometimes be either too chalky, too chewy, or too dry. Not when you do it like this. It tasted just as good as the dark meat for me, so you'll love it.
Well, and the great thing about that recipe and any slow cooker whole chicken recipe, slow cooker whole chickens are intimidating for a lot of people, but honestly, they're one of the easiest things that turns out great every time.
Completely agree.
And it's also a versatile thing. So you can have it as chicken, like just whole chicken, like cut the leg off or a piece of the breast off with, a side of green beans or cabbage or something like that. And then if you have leftovers, meaning you don't have a Mikey in the house, so that you can have leftovers. If you have leftovers, that meat can be used for sandwiches, to make chicken salad, to make all kinds of casseroles or chicken soup and all that kind of stuff. So that's something to keep in mind. We're really loving these recipes where you can get double recipes out of a single time you cook. It makes things easier around the camper kitchen. And so that was really great.
What about you?
Along those same lines, my favorite thing has been the barbecue cola ribs that we made when we went to the dinosaur exhibit at Big Ben. I love those ribs. I dream about those ribs. Those ribs, the ingredients for those ribs are currently in this camper kitchen because I'm making them again.
She tells me, we make the ribs, and then like a week goes by and she goes out and she buys another rack of ribs. She goes, you know what? I don't care if we made it for the channel. I don't care if these people have seen it. I'm going to make it again because it was that good.
Yes. So we're gonna have it again. But we also, one of the things I love about that recipe is it makes for amazing leftovers. And so you guys had tacos. We did, and coming up, I don't know when it is coming out on the channel, but we also did our stuffed avocados on the grill with that barbecue meat. Is amazing. Like, I love that flavor. I am wholeheartedly in the fact that it's low carb because that's something that I am doing and I can enjoy just like anything else. I just absolutely love it. And our Crock Posse is also very much enjoying it. We've heard a lot from Crock Posse member David, and he's sent us some photos. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'll pop some of those photos up here. If you're on the podcast, we'll give you a link to the YouTube if you want to see the pictures and all that kind of stuff. Which also reminds me, if you guys do cook something from the channel, we would love to see it. You can either email us at our email addresses, which will be down in the show notes, or you can tag us on Instagram by just tagging at Recipes That Crock or using hashtag CrockPosse. And then we would love to feature you in our Instagram stories. So that's the more real-time 24-hour kind of thing. Like, if you don't know how stories works, maybe I can find something that we can link down below how stories works. But we've been featuring Crock Posse members. We featured David when he was cooking up those ribs.
Yep, Dave made the ribs. Dave's made a couple different dishes and reported back to us on how and Dave. I think we've probably talked to you already about it, but I just want to say you take some really good pictures, bro.
Yeah.
Really good job.
Yeah.
He did a corned beef and added some extra ingredients in there and said this is what it looks like, and it was enough to make me want to go buy another corned beef.
I think David's a great example of, we have a wide spectrum of folks who like to cook from the channel, and some people like to cook exactly the way we cook it. And then there are people who like to use it as a springboard to cook the way that they love to cook, and we love seeing all different ways. Another Crock Posse member that sent us stuff that we've recently featured on our Instagram stories is Callie. And so Callie made our pizza soup, and we love to highlight that too. So if you have those photos and you want them featured on our Instagram stories, we love to do that. So just pop me a message at my email address. Again, that'll be down below. Or you can try and connect with us on Instagram. So
be our friend.
But aside from food, now it's time to speak some life, buddy.
I think we can do that. That is not hard to do. That's the biggest part of what we do, because we could always tell good jokes. We can always eat food. But I think what delves deeper into us as a family, as well as us as the Crock Posse, is we want to speak life into one another. It does so much more. Than...
But I think we need to back up just a little bit, because I've heard from some folks that that they maybe didn't fully understand what that means.
Right.
It's kind of a phrase which, if you don't know where it came from, like that, you may not know what that means.
Right.
So, just to give you a little...
Our resident Speak Life expert over here.
Just to give you a little backstory, the actual phrase Speak Life comes from a song by Toby Mac. I have been a lifelong fan of DC Talk and Toby Mac, which are a Christian rock/rap band. One of the to me, what Speak Life means is that our words have power, and they can either build people up or they can tear people down. And so in our personal life, we seek to use our words to build people up. And so that means as a friend, I seek to build my friends up with my words. As a wife, I seek to build my husband up with my words. And as a mom, I hope to build my daughter up with my words. And that's not just for them, that's also for me. It helps put me in a good place, but that also is to help make a better community. And then online, that's one of our big missions of what we want to do, is we want to create a nice and encouraging place online, because online can be kind of brutal sometimes. And so that's one of the things. We want to build a community of people who speak life to each other and to the other people in their lives. So, but that all comes from a Toby Mac song that talks about the power of speaking life.
Can you guess what the title of that song is?
And we'll put a link to that down below. You're going to have a whole list of all the things we need to link down below.
I should have wrote this down.
And in that song, at the end of the song, Toby makes a note that the song is inspired by a quote by Brennan Manning. And so one of the things we want to do on the podcast each week is to give you an inspirational quote that we have found.
I think you just want to show off your new
signboard. Yes,
signboards.
I like my new signboard, but the other piece of this is anybody who kind of knows me in life knows that I love quotes. I'm all about finding a clever or inspirational quote. So we thought we'd add that into each podcast as well.
Yep.
You also will see a lot of these on our Instagram feed. Pretty easy. But this week's quote is a Brennan Manning quote that inspired the Speak Life song that we've kind of based a lot of this stuff off. And the quote is, "In every encounter, we either give life or we drain it. There is no neutral exchange."
Yep.
So that is our quote for the week. And so that's kind of just what we try to aspire. So I'm sorry, I hit the table. Now I'm going to be in trouble.
Hey,
what?
It's okay. I've done it too.
Oh, here we go. Look at that. So what is an example of someone who has spoke life to you, my dear?
I mean, I could go with the obvious and say you. You know, sometimes I can be self-deprecating, and I think I was low one time, and I was mad about myself about something, and I might even said something that like I was dumb or something. Which don't ever say that to yourself, because you'll believe it. I wasn't speaking life into myself, and you just grabbed a hold of me and went straight from the Bible and said, "Don't you understand that you are beautifully, fearfully, and wonderfully made?" And it struck deep in me, because it was like, oh my gosh, here I am down on myself. I'm not the one that made myself. You know, God made me who I am, and I should never be that down on myself. So you are very good in speaking life into me. And then somebody else who really struck with me was, this is back when I was still working for the railroad. And if you all saw the podcast where I said I quit, I think what really got the ball rolling is a chance meeting with a brilliant author. His name is Andy Janning. He's the author of Heroes, Villains, and Drunk Old Men. You should check that book out. It's really good. But Andy's a good friend of mine. His wife, Carla, I grew up. She was one of my best friends and still is today. But we just happened to run into him on our way to the movies, and we stopped at Barnes & Noble because my daughter's a book nerd. And anytime we go to the movies, she just has to stop by Barnes & Noble just to see if there's a book or 10 that she might want to get. But we go in there, and I hear my wife chuckling and laughing with somebody. So I turn around and look, and there's Andy. And we don't get to see him all that much anymore. Andy quit his job, and he's got his own business, and he's a brilliant motivational speaker. And so I still see Andy as one of my really good friends, but I also saw, oh, it's Andy Janning. And so I go up to Andy, you know, big hugs and everything. And he's like, how's life going? You know, it looks like things are going really good with the channel. And, you know, Chris's business seems to be doing really well. I'm like, yeah. I said, someday I really like to go do what we're doing full time, you know, and just step away from the railroad. But, you know, I don't think I can because of this. And I don't think I can because of that. And he's like, let me stop you right there. The only thing stopping you from being more successful than what you are is you. And I got like what Andy would normally get paid high money, high dollars for. I got like the 5 to 10 minute abridged version of why I could do anything. And he spoke so much life into us in those 5 to 10 minutes that just a few months later, I quit my job, and now we're living the dream by, you know, working the business of Recipes That Crock, as well as traveling the nation and speaking life across the nation. And it was because, you know, somebody said, you can believe in you. I believe in you. And he spoke some life into me. So, Andy, by chance, if you're watching this podcast, it's your fault that I quit my job. So
I think he would take that. He'd take that fault. He should
because he's a good man. He did a good job. But yeah. Check out his book again, Heroes, Villains, and Drunk Old Men by Andy Janning. It's something that I believe that y'all will really, really enjoy. But talk about a guy who can speak life. He does it. But it's what we do. It's what we're gonna do. It's you can't stop us. We're gonna speak life into you, and when y'all speak life into us, it just makes us feel so much better about what we're doing. So thank you, Kim, Dave, NJ, Kim.
Yes.
Kim.
Well, and I do. And everyone else, we don't want anyone to.
As of right now, are close to 16,000 members of the Crock Posse. We thank you guys so much. And it's like you've got the people in there that have become familiar with and become friends with that are always, you know, chiming in with things, and we love you guys for it. And then every once in a while, there will be somebody that we've never heard of before, ever, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love you guys. You guys are great. We subscribe because you guys are real," and that's what we're going to be. We don't stage things. This is as much as we script is for a podcast.
And that's just to keep it a little organized, because we can be all over the place. But as one of the things that we want to do as we kind of relaunch the podcast and we continue down with our new cooking Chris's dishes.
This is like my favorite part of the stuff that we do.
Via the Camper Kitchen. We are going to do a little giveaway.
I stole your line.
We haven't done one in a while. And so we're going to do one in 3 different places. And if you look at the show notes below, if you are listening to this on your favorite podcast player, then you can look in the, I think the show notes should be there. If not, you can always find the show notes on recipesthatcrock.com/podcast. And then you will find all the notes there. You can also find the notes down below on, we're going to have a post, an actual YouTube video of this podcast. You'll find it down below here. You'll find it on the Facebook post, and you'll find it on the Instagram post. So we're going to have 3 different places that are going to have all of this content.
Instagram at Recipes That Crock. Facebook, As Good As It Gets. And again, these links will be down below if you don't know what we're talking about. And then, of course, here on the YouTube channel that you're watching, 3 different ways that you dude, it's completely possible you could win 3 different crock pots. Well, 3 different, because then you'd have to figure out what you wanted to do.
Okay. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
A little bit.
So what we're going to do is we are going to give away 3 different, your choice between 2 products, units. So we are going to give away one on Facebook, in the Facebook group, one on Instagram, and one on YouTube.
Your choice between
the Crock Pot Express pressure cooker. Now that is like an Instant Pot. So you hear people talk about Instant Pots, all that. We love Crock Pots and Crock Pot's new pressure cooker, and we actually should be featuring it a lot more on the show in coming days. Good. It's going to be a while for it to get into the process, but we love that. We love that pressure cooker, and we think it's a really great option for folks. So you can choose between, if you don't have a pressure cooker or you want another one, we're going to do the Crock Pot Express pressure cooker.
Or my absolute favorite standby slow cooker. Anybody know what that is? Anybody? That's right. It's going to be the Ninja 3-in-1 slow cooking system.
Yes.
Mainly just because that's my favorite.
Now that's what is called a multi-cooker. So you can slow cook in it. You can saute in it.
You can bake.
I'm not sure if the 3-in-1, I have to look to see, because some of them can bake and some of them can't. So I'm not sure. We're going to have to look that up.
I think you can. Maybe.
I think you can.
Maybe.
We'll have to see. But it's a multi-cooker, so you can do multiple things in it. So
you can't make ice cream in it.
But
I've tried.
So to clarify, because we're getting a little all over the place, because we tend to do that from time to time, there will be 3 units that will be given away. One will be given on Instagram, one will be given on the Facebook group, and one will be given on YouTube. And the way that you enter will be in the show notes below, all of the details. But what it'll boil down to is you will need to comment. You will need to be a subscriber on whichever one of those you're entering. You can enter on all 3. And you need to comment on that post so that you can be entered. And just tell us what your favorite thing to make in your crock pot is.
Or your Instant Pot. Or your Ninja, or your whatever it is you like to slow cook or pressure cook. Let us know. It can be from our website, or it can be just in general. So here on the channel, in this video, down below in the comments, let us know what you want to cook. And if you're on the Facebook group, you will see the post. You want to make your comment there, or you will see the post on at Recipes That Crock on Instagram. In that post down in the comments, same thing. Let us know, and we will contact you, and we will say, hey, you win.
Which
what
one
do you want?
Which one do you want?
It's very possible that you, mathematically possible. Is it going to happen this way? I don't know. But it's very possible that you could win 3 choices of 2 slow cookers. Now, if that happens, do you really want to have... How would you do that?
Could give one away to a friend.
Exactly. You want to speak life into somebody? Give them a crock pot.
Now, let's just talk mathematically, because we all know what kind of math whiz I am. That probably isn't going to happen.
But if it does, how cool would that be?
Yeah. I think it would be cool for 3 different Crock Posse members to win.
But if you were the same person and you won all 3 choices, you should really go get a lottery ticket.
Alrighty. My goodness. We have kind of gotten off track.
A little bit.
Yes. So... what are we going to do this week?
We're going to laugh off and eat good food and speak life?
Yes, but you stole my line.
Oh. We're going to go have fun. We're going to travel. We're going to see the world. And we're going to show it to you guys here as well as Good as It Gets, the Facebook page, and as well as at Recipes That Crock, the Instagram feed page, channels, whatever you call it.
He doesn't do the Instagram, if you can't tell.
Sometimes I do. But we're going to have a good time, and we're going to enjoy it, and we hope you guys will too. We love you. We want to speak life into you. Hopefully, with the way that we're doing the interwebs, we'll do more live stuff, because we're hearing from a lot of you that you've missed that.
We're going to try.
We're working with some new technology that we'll talk about probably in an upcoming episode, as long as I don't die. And we'll get into that in a later episode. Stay tuned. There's your cliffhanger for next week.
Okay.
So, y'all, again, say it with us like a mantra. Say it like you mean it. Laugh often.
Eat good food.
And speak life.
Bye, guys.
Love you guys. Bye. Usually you do.
I'm duty out.
Hey, y'all, and welcome back to As Good As It Gets, the podcast.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Mikey.
And I missed the intro.
Hey, y'all, and welcome back to As Good As It Gets, the podcast.
I'm Chris. It's just funny now. Sorry.